Hey, welcome to Geeky Faucets. I'm Amy Dale.
And I'm Christine Lucas-Savage.
And this is episode 70, and today we're going to be talking about Christine's fetish.
You make it sound so dirty. Okay, do you ever watch a movie or a show and you wonder, gosh, how tall is that guy really?
Yeah, I have.
Like,
I really
all
have.
the time.
So,
it's all the time.
this is
but
Christine's obsession.
I actually go one step further and I look it up.
Anytime we're talking about celebrities, if you've watched us before, you know, anytime we're talking about celebrities, Christine can chime in with
how tall they are.
Yeah.
Which is a
Such
little
and such
bit
height.
like stalkerish now that we're talking about it.
It's interesting.
But don't you want to know, because there's some people who are like,
information.
I feel like you should be like 6'3", but you're like 5'2". You know what I mean?
Right. Like some people just carry like Tom Cruise is not
Tom
very tall.
Cruise. I have him. He's 5'7".
He's
an
puny, taller than me.
Me too.
That's tiny for a dude.
The one that
if you're that tall though, I think it's a great height.
Well, Anyway, the one that got me, because it's the Martin Freeman, Benedict Cumberbatch thing. Because I know Martin Freeman's short. He's my height. He's 5'6". Benedict Cumberbatch is only 6 feet tall. Like, he looks like a huge,
he looks like he towers
tall
over
man.
Him. Yeah.
Well, he does tower over him because Martin Freeman is 6 inches shorter. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I learned that, I was a little disappointed because I felt like
But Martin Freeman feels short.
He does feel short.
But like, Tom Cruise doesn't feel short, I don't think. Because he's always like playing some like...
Robert Downey Jr. is the same way. He's pretty short. He's 5'9".
Oh, yeah.
So he's pretty short, but he gives off this tall presence.
Yeah.
But I guess if you stand him next to Thor, who happens to be 6'3", I think anybody would be tiny. And speaking of... Weren't you the one that told me that when they paired Chris Hemsworth with Natalie Portman because she was so puny and tiny? Well, she's a foot shorter than he is. She's only 5'3".
And they had to build planks on part of it where she's like walking next to him because they were trying to get them both in the shot.
This much difference. I mean,
can you imagine from a cameraman's perspective, like trying to get them both in the shot? Okay, actually, you're gonna need to be taller because your head is like not in the shot.
No.
Yeah. Okay, but wait. Before we go further, we have not talked about Denver Comic-Con.
It was awesome.
We should cap that off because if you haven't watched our Denver Comic-Con highlight reel, you should do that.
There's a Hello Kitty samurai. What more do you need?
There is. It was it's my favorite event of the year. I think it is just so much fun. And it was so great this year. And we just made a little short recap video, which is really, it's like 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes or something. It's not very long, so you can watch it. And it was...
I should have sent you footage of Bruce Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
I totally had that, because I totally saw Bruce Campbell. He's my buddy now.
Yeah, and I was moderating a panel at the time, so I didn't get to go to that panel, but she came out beaming. It was awesome.
It was really, really exciting.
It was really
this
fun.
guy, I feel like I grew up with this guy.
It's so
awesome. You know what I mean? And to see him in real, and I was like live texting my parents because like that's my parents. You know, they don't really care about celebrities, but this guy, they're like, yeah, this guy. And so I'm like, Mom, Dad, and I was taking pictures and just
And I met Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z.
Pretty sure he has a crush on you.
Oh, he was delightful. I really liked him. And then
I got to see the Power Rangers.
Yes.
No, seriously, like the Green Ranger is so amazing in real life. Like the Blue Ranger.
He was like doing a motivational speech for the whole.
Well, he's like a fighter guy,
He was really like UFC or something.
Whatever it is, yeah. But apparently he's super big in that arena also. But he'll always be the Green Ranger.
Well, you know.
And then the Black Ranger was there, and the Blue Ranger were there. I never really cared for either one of those guys, but...
And if you watch The Walking Dead, Merle from The Walking Dead was there, and Carl from The Walking Dead.
You know, he looks like such a nice... she has, like, this preconceived, like, oh my God, he's the most evil person. Like, we walked by, and she's like, ugh. Like, you could visibly see her shudder.
I do not like Merle.
But he was, like, the guy who
really was.
Like, he was taking pictures with everybody. He'd be like... You know,
and
totally
he was
posing
really,
with them.
You could tell he was just a really nice guy, but it was hard because he's such a good actor. And
that's
so,
his job.
I hate him so much because of who he played on the show. And then Carl, I said, we've had this discussion a few times about just like when you see someone, like we're walking and I see the table where Carl's sitting and I was like, it's like seeing a bear in the wild, you know? they're real, but then you see them in real life and you're like, oh my gosh, it's real. Don't spook it. Shh.
Don't let it run away. It's like, and the one that caught me off guard was Lou Ferrigno. Like, he was like, here's the aisle here,
really close to him.
and he's standing here. Dude's huge.
He is massive.
I thought, I'm like, oh, wonder if he's like standing on a platform or something like that. No, dude is big, and he's
really
like
big. He's big in every way.
Yes,
he's
there's
like,
nothing
"Whoa."
small about that
No wonder
man.
he
Good
played the Hulk.
God.
How tall is he?
I actually didn't look that up. I know. The show.
And then he was right across the aisle though from the guy who played one of the doctors. Which doctor? I don't remember. And Radagast in The Hobbit.
Sylvester something.
Sylvester McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he's like this big. So it's like tiny little
Gigantor
action figure guy. He was like a caricature of like a little British old man.
He was adorable.
He was
saying.
so cute.
Yes.
And then there's Hulk on the other side of the aisle. It was really appropriately
It was
placed.
kind of awesome,
it was
actually.
really great.
I was pleased with who we saw. I didn't need to meet anybody. I was totally fine, like not meeting Bruce Campbell. I was tempted, but I'm like, I really don't want to wait 4 hours in his line to go get an autograph. I don't care that much. But I got to see him from afar, and it was awesome.
And sometimes that's just enough. That's all we
It
need.
kind of is enough.
And you know, okay, so for you guys who didn't
Bruce
make
Campbell,
it this
by
year,
the way, is 6'1".
he's 6'1". That's tall.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't make it this year, just so you know, you have got to get your tickets early. They sold out like weeks before the show. For the 3-day passes, I know they sold out quite a while before. And then, so if you're planning on going next year, don't wait and don't think, I'll just get tickets at the door, or don't like just put it off, because you will not get tickets is what will happen. So yeah. Okay, on to heights.
Because this is the most important thing
This
that
is
you could
the most
do with your
important thing.
life. But mark my words, you're gonna look differently at the screens.
We're
Now, you're
5'6",
gonna be like,
for the record.
yes.
Yeah.
My husband is 6'1", although he's like, I'm 5'11" and 3/4. I'm like, you're 6 feet tall if you stand up straight.
You 6'1" or 6 feet?
6 feet,
He's 6 feet. My husband is 5'10".
which I think is short.
It is just right. When I
Matt
wear
Damon's
heels,
5'10".
when I wear heels, we're the same height. It's pretty funny, which is not often.
But Matt Damon's 5'10". But isn't that kind of shocking? Wouldn't you expect him to be a little like the one that got me, Brad Pitt? I looked at him. He's only 5'11".
Who?
Brad Pitt. Like, you're not even hitting 6. Like, what the hell? Like, he feels like a 6'2" to me.
Yeah.
But he's, I mean, I guess it's the way you carry yourself, and that's super important. Anyway,
I guess it
like
is.
how you carry yourself, but I don't know.
Yeah. So who's
And
the
I looked
short?
up Simon Pegg for you,
You
by
did?
the way. It's like this rash of short British men. Like Simon, well, I guess he's not that short. He's 5'10".
See, that's the
Your
right height
husband's
for me.
right. Nick Frost is 5'7".
Oh, that's
So
short.
you're like, I don't know. It's like that's like the short
He's
British
like
man
the little
club.
short round guy.
It's like and it's so sad. And then let's see.
Oh, Simon Pegg. I love him. He's in a new movie, by the way. Have you seen the preview for this? Like Hector, something about happiness and the search for happiness. It looks really good. You guys should look it up.
I have not seen it.
It looks kind of delightful.
So, and I also looked up our three favorites. Nathan Fillion,
Yes.
6'2".
Oh gosh, that's
I
tall.
know he was tall. Yeah, he's a tall guy.
That is tall.
Yeah, he's 6'2". Adam Baldwin, 6'4". Casey, yes, I did not personify the 6'4". Dude's huge. Well, yeah, Zachary Levi is also 6'4", but I knew he was tall. But
6'4". That's like
Yeah.
ridiculously tall.
that's my family. My brother is 6'6".
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's normal. 6'4".
6'4" is
That's
tall.
average. Well, it is tall.
Wow.
When you stand next to your brother who's gigantic, you're like, hey.
I really kind of love being around tall people though, because it makes me feel tiny, and I never feel tiny. I always feel like average to not tiny. So I'm always like, oh, it's a
I
big
kind of
person.
like being around short people because then I finally feel tall. Because my entire life,
Oh, you felt
I
short.
was the puniest one in the whole family, and they're always like, "You're short."
I always thought it'd be cool to be like a little petite person, and so I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna go stand over here next to this.
That's probably why
huge
you like
person.
Simon Pegg because he's only 5'10".
No, no, I want a huge guy so I can feel tiny.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Not a tiny guy so I can feel
That was the
huge.
opposite.
No,
anyways.
not the same effect.
So, and that the woman who plays Sarah on Chuck, she's 5'9", so she's pretty tall.
She's gorgeous. I want to be her when I grow
She's
up.
really. I want to be Stana Caddick. Is that how you say her name? She's the
don't know.
woman not from Castle. She's
Beckett
Beckett from Castle. I think she's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. I don't
And she gets to
really
hang
know.
out with
I don't
Nathan
watch
Fillion. I mean,
That is
hello,
kinda
why would you
awesome.
not want to
I think
do
yes.
that? I'm just saying.
Sounds delightful.
So the other Avengers, if you're curious, are kind of short. Mark Ruffalo, he's only 5'8". He's the Hulk. How is he only 5'8"? He's really
adorable.
He's
I
totally
love
adorable.
him.
Jeremy
Yes.
Renner, and I say he's short, but he's 5'10".
Which apparently is not short. My husband's height. There you go.
Although he looks tall because Scarlett Johansson's only 5'3".
She is not.
That's what it said. Google.
I'm taller than her. I'm so taller.
But that probably what makes him look
all
taller.
I got on her, but I'm holding on to it.
You're like,
have you heard her sing?
No, I didn't know she could sing.
Okay, shut up. I hate it when like those people that are gorgeous and great actors and everything else, you know, and then they do something else. You're like, would you stop?
She has this makes you. She has an
being so
ugly
talented.
tattoo.
Oh,
I've seen it.
Good.
It's really. It looks like
Prison tattoo?
our children could have drawn it. It's just kind of a line draw. Maybe it's changed. I don't know, but
She can sing. Like,
I had no idea. I bet she's got a beautiful voice.
Oh, my word.
I like listening.
it's like the raspy, you know, she's got that talking voice. It's kind of a little raspy.
Yeah.
It's delightful.
So if you're curious about the other two Avengers, this should come as no surprise. Chris Evans is 6 foot, and Chris Hemsworth is 6'3", which we talked about earlier. And Tom Hiddleston, Loki, he's 6'2", so that's delightful. Tall, skinny dudes, I kind of go for that. So.
Yeah, apparently.
My husband's tall and he's skinny, so.
Okay, who's the tallest?
The tallest, actually, Chewbacca. I looked him up. Peter
Mayhew.
He's 7 feet 2 inches.
Wow.
So, like, when you're watching Star Wars, that dude's really that much taller than Harrison Ford.
Like, they didn't have to put him on.
Because Harrison Ford is like
Stilts
over 6 feet, and
Okay, so I was in a mall one time, and there was this guy that used to play basketball. I think his name is Manute Bol. Anyway, I didn't know who he was, but I just saw him, and I was like, whoa. And my dad's like, oh, that's him, you know, and we looked up his height, and he was 7'6". So
7'6".
yeah,
I can't even.
whoever it was, if that's who that was. Anyway, they were 7'6", and I was like, because I mean, they were in other.
In another world.
Yes, I was like,
I actually
what's
sometimes
it like up there. I
do you
can't even
ever,
see how dirty my refrigerator is.
Did you ever like stand up on a chair wondering like what it's like to be tall? Because I do it.
I don't, but I should.
I've done it multiple times. Or I'll stand on tippy toes and like, does the world look different?
Yeah,
and I think it does. I'm just oh, my brother. Speaking of tall people, he's 6'6", and so he's in.
That is tall.
He showed up in this documentary. I can't remember what it was. I posted it on Facebook, but he just was kind of in the background party of this thing that happened. And my mom was like, yeah, he's kind of hard to spot. And I'm like, how is he hard to spot? Like, his head is a head above the crowd. I'm like, he's right there. Like,
he's
hi,
like
Dan.
sticking out.
He is. Like, his head is above
it's like
everybody
Gandalf
else's
with the
heads.
hobbits.
It's true. It's, so funny. I'm like, Mom, you must be blind. I mean.
Yeah. So to add to the idea that maybe I'm slightly schizophrenic, when I talked about, like, wanting to be tiny, I also used to tell people that I was 5'10", even though I'm 5'6". I don't know. I just thought it would be cool to be really tall. But they would always be like, really? I was like, no.
That seems like the dumbest thing to lie about.
Some people were like, oh, wow. It's like, yeah, you can't tell when I'm
I'm
sitting down.
5'6". I've embraced it. Because
Oh,
on the
no.
average, I'm a little taller than most people. Like, I feel
Isn't
like
that
I'm
weird,
a little
though?
taller.
Because it doesn't feel like
Because
we
I
should be
feel
taller.
puny.
I know.
I feel
But, like,
really
a lot of
puny.
our friends are shorter than us.
Yeah, I guess it's true. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like a puny person. But I guess it's what you grow up with.
Yeah, because you had ginormicas for your
grew up with
brothers.
giants.
You were in the land of titans or something.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, but who do you like? Does anybody else have this problem with looking at people and wondering how tall they are?
Yeah.
And how it works? Okay, because this one got me too. Matt Smith is 5'11", 5'11". So is Karen Gillian.
Oh,
So, because
that's
I
why
don't
he has
know.
those fancy little high-heeled shoes. He
Maybe
wears.
that's why. No, but don't you wonder about like cinematically, like how does this work, and how does because
I
Tom
know
Cruise, his leading ladies, everybody's taller than him.
I know.
Because
they build little platforms for him to walk
But
on.
doesn't that make him so like how do you? Okay, this is
He
gonna
owns
sound
that
terrible. No,
platform.
but how do you have confidence after that?
Well,
Like
I don't know. I'm not a short dude.
short dudes, can you weigh
He's
in?
got other assets, I guess. It's all about, like you said earlier, it's about how you carry
I know
yourself.
that,
because
but-
he doesn't seem short on the screen.
No, he doesn't seem short on the screen, but I wonder how hard it was for him to get over being on because he's got to be on some kind of platform sometimes. Like I wonder
Yes.
what that
Mentally does to
mentally does to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. So, anyway, heights. There you go.
There you
Anybody you're curious about, I'll be happy to look it up for you. If you don't want to feel like a stalker, I own this. And I understand this about myself, so I'll be happy to look that up for you. Just post that sucker on Facebook.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, subscribe to us if you enjoy our show. Share our videos on Facebook and let your friends know about us. And hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.